Right now there's a lot, and you can actually feel the end of the bone.
Since it's
weird.
silicone,
Silicone?
will it form to her leg as the
Well,
leg shrinks?
we changed mineral gel. So this is a gel. So silicone is basically a closed cell chemical structure, so it doesn't flow. Whereas the material of this liner is more polar, so it'll flow.
What does that mean?
Chemistry, it's more. It doesn't have as tight of a bond on it,
Okay.
so the material will move or flow a little bit like Jello or water.
Okay.
Whereas silicone is hard and rigid, and it'll stretch some, but
Then it's not going to keep moving around as it needs to, so it doesn't
Right.
move with your body as much.
Right. So it has a tighter chemical bond with silicone. So therefore, the molecules won't go from high pressure to low pressure and even it out. They just stay the same.
And so what's with the
The Saran wrap.
yeah.
Okay, these gel liners are super expensive,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna be marking where your kneecap is
Gotcha.
with an ink pen, and I don't want to ruin a $600 liner
Understandable.
because these liners are overly priced for us, and insurance dictates them, and they're hugely expensive. So you treat them like gold.
Understandable.
Whereas other things that are less expensive,
Like silicone, like the Saran wrap,
yeah.
or nylons, or tights.
Yeah. Alright. And I have to sneak out and grab my Sharpie pen.
All right. So I get to get cast for my first prosthetic. Ooh, so excited. I came in walking on that, my hands-free crutch, and so now I get to get fitted. And I do really like the gel sock cover. So it's called a sock or
It's a gel liner.
gel liner. Okay. Do you want me to bend?
So the story that goes around, whether it's true or not, but I tend to believe it was true. The gentleman that invented it was an amputee who was fishing and used those rubberized gel worms
Okay.
for fishing, and he wanted to make a liner out of his gel worm, so he heated up a whole bunch of those gel worms
And they melted.
and made it into a liner, and it worked well. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's the story that
interesting.
goes around.
Well, the story that goes around with Coumadin when I was on that was that because it's rat poison, someone who was trying to get out of the draft for Vietnam took a bunch of rat poison, and after several hours of not dying, he went to the ER because he's like, well, I guess if I'm not going to die, I better go, get this taken care of. And thus began the research into rat poison as a blood thinner. That's what they told me at the Coumadin clinic the first time I had blood clots.
I can believe it.
Yeah. So, it's coming along though.
So you still worry.
Yeah, but in my case, it's been phenomenal since,
Right.
no pain. I'm surprised that I have had absolutely no pain whatsoever because, they did bone work. So you would think there would be at least some pain, but none. And that's not me just trying to be strong or anything. I just haven't.
Go ahead, straighten your leg, but not too tight. Perfect. So, and can I get you to angle out that way a little bit? So, perfect. Right. No. So, yeah, your leg's just off. Yeah. So.
That way my other leg's out of your way while you're
That's fine.
wrapping it.
Quality of the doctor makes a big difference too, as well as being an elective. They're not trying to
Save something.
save your life.
Yeah.
So it's like you can time and prep, and you
Exactly.
have nice, strong, healthy tissue. So you had everything going for you.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the
Diabetics
amputations, the
or
diabetics,
injuries.
yeah, they're given the choice: do you want to lose your leg or do you want to die?
Yeah.
And make your decision quickly because you don't have much time left.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of the doctors that I did speak to prior to finding Duncan were like, well, it's still viable. It can still live. I'm like, yes, but I can't.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, yes, my leg is still a good tissue versus I'm losing out on the living of my life.
Right. So that's because doctors are taught to save as much
Yeah.
body part as possible
Yeah.
instead of where's the quality of life.
Yeah. And I think a lot more of it should be both based on the quality of life. Because, you know,
Well, it's a high risk though.
yeah.
Once you cut it off, you can't put
put
it
back.
on. Is it worth
Yeah.
the risk?
For me, it was.
Yeah.
Especially.
Okay, I want to feel the. Is
On the
that kind of
vent?
right underneath your kneecap? Your
Yeah.
kneecap is kind of right here.
Yep.
Okay, and then go ahead and relax. Okay, perfect. Just relax. I feel you tense a little bit. Perfect. So we're going to be marking just under your kneecap.
Okay.
That is the area that is basically
The top of the front of it.
Yeah,
Type.
I can show you on it once we get it off. But this is how the zero mark or the axis or the 0 point of the
Gotcha.
of your axis. So everything
So
on
axis
the
of symmetry and
right.
algebra, since I'm a math teacher, that's
Right.
the minimum point.
Right. So everything is based off of that spot.
All right. See, you do need math in real life. The axis of symmetry, a parabola, upside down parabola. This is fun.
Yes. And prosthetics is a really good business and career. It incorporates a lot of things, but it's more mechanics of physics than actual paperwork. So
Yeah.
common sense goes a lot farther than just memorizing formulas.
Exactly. That's
But-
why I think the way
but-
we teach math is kind of backwards, because it's all about memorization versus practice of it.
Right. So common sense goes a long way. And I know a lot of really great people, and they're smart in what they do. They don't have to be fully book smart,
Yeah.
but you have to understand how things work and interact. If you can do that, this field's really good for that.
That's when you're talking about the minimum. Like, we teach that in math.
Yeah.
And your axis of symmetry, because you want the sides to kind of be evenly distributed.
Yeah.
And it is. It's an upside down parabola. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
On the sides is the upside down, and then regular. The vertex. That's what I was trying to remember. So you're making the indent there, so that way.
So we know where the bottom of
Bottom
the
is
kneecap
as
is.
it pulls off.
Yes, and I also traced the kneecap, and I put a R for right, although you can tell by the shape of a leg
Yeah.
if it's right or a left. But
It's
I
wider
double-checked.
out on the outside of it.
Because you have the fibula bone here, you have two bones. You have the tibia here and the fibula here.
Yeah.
And the fibula actually is a floating bone with the head here, and you have a nerve over the top that sometimes gets a little painful, and there's a surgery that can fix that too. But then we can carry a lot of weight at here. Once the swelling goes down, we call that the medial or inside tibial flare, where we can just grab a ton of weight here because the muscle will atrophy because it's
Right.
cut and not moving the ankle. And you have a nice shelf where you can carry a lot of weight, but you can triangulate here because we don't want the leg round so it doesn't rotate. So we'll indent in this area in between the two bones to kind of make a keyway lock so the leg doesn't rotate.
All right. I have been visualizing. I've been visualizing flexing my foot. That's not there, and so I can visualize flexing it, and that moves the calf muscle.
Yes.
And so it's weird because I'm like, just move the calf muscle, but I can't just move the calf muscle. I have to visualize moving the foot too.
Yes.
And so it's just kind of weird.
Some people can, some people can't. I remember a gentleman years ago that could hold his prosthetic on just by flexing his muscle. And he learned to walk because he wanted the freedom, whereas he held his leg on because he was able to do it. Most people can't, some people can't. It's just figuring out what you can and can't do, and everybody's unique and different.
Yeah. It's just been a really interesting, like, in things that you don't think about that you're going to have to do, such as, like when I get up from a chair, like the recliner, I sometimes use my feet to push off the chair. Well, I don't have a foot now to push off with, so I'm like, I can just use my stump to push off. But it's just kind of those things that you don't think about that try to...
Yeah, what you do is you just make do.
Yeah.
You'll figure out you want to do something, and you didn't used to do it this way before, but you'll just figure out, if I want to do it bad enough, here's how I do it, and here's how efficiently I do it.
Exactly. So, and thankfully I'm handy, so
Yep.
I will be able to figure out, I think, a lot more easily than some, because I am about problem solving and puzzles and stuff,
Yep.
so that helps.
So we're going to build the check socket, and basically what that is the shape of the prosthetic leg, which will fit on and we can see through it. And in the meantime, you're going to be healing and wearing the stump shrinker. This is going to get more narrowed, and we have to wait till these scabs come off, because that's kind of like having a rock in your shoe, because scabs are hard.
Yeah.
We have to have it fully healed, and also you get a lot of shear in the leg when you walk, and we want to make sure it's healed so when the shear of the skin doesn't split it open.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, so once that's fully healed, how long from that point before the first leg comes in?
Well, see, that's why we're starting this early when
Okay.
your stitches are out. We can cheat a little bit, so hopefully while you're healing, we're building the leg.
Gotcha.
So that time is minimized to under a week.
Oh, nice.
So if we have the check socket done, or we just have minimal shrinkage,
Right.
once, all the hard part's over,
Exactly.
we can just tighten it up a little bit, go make it once you're fully healed.
All right.
But yeah, the more accurate the leg is to fit with, and the more you shrink to begin with, the longer the leg lasts, and the better you do.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for him, Mom? You were asking me some questions. I don't remember, like how long it's gonna last, and then.
I already asked.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so the first leg's going to be changed because of the fit.
Right.
It's still built by the same quality and the strength. The strength will last 3 to 5 years, but if your leg shrinks so much, which it will because the muscles are going to shrink because we're not moving the ankle anymore, you just wobble around and you don't get the function. So you figure the first leg is called a preparatory leg, and it should last 6 months to a year.
Okay.
And that's just because the leg changes in shape, and we get you a foot to teach you to walk and just see what you can do.
Okay.
And then once we've kind of established your level, then we get what's called a definitive or permanent prosthesis, which should last 3 to 5 years, provided you don't gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight or get it hit by lightning or other adverse.
Let's hope there's no lightning.
Yeah.
So she, on average, may change the prosthesis every 5 years, possibly?
3 to 5, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just that,
Does it just wear out? Is
yeah,
that
it's like
why?
brakes on your car. So if you take
Oh,
a million
okay.
steps a year, the carbon fiber will fatigue. Carbon fiber is very strong, but it doesn't bond well. So they use an autoclave, so high heat, high pressure to bond the carbon fiber in the foot. And if you load it and unload it with each step, and then add your body weight with the moment arm, because your center of mass is really your belly button, so you have you're walking 1.2 times your body weight. So if you
Okay.
jog, you're 3 to 5 body weights. So you're putting a lot of strain through the prosthetic foot at each load. So it just wears out like brakes on your car, and you'd rather replace it before it breaks and have it break and
then
cause other damage.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
didn't realize that they wore out like that.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So it's mainly
Wear and tear.
yeah, and it's carbon's a four neutral bond, and it's hard to bond a glue to a carbon. So it always seems to just break when the carbon. You have these carbon sheets called carbon fiber. It's the glue that's holding those sheets together always seems to go.
I didn't realize that.
All right. And once it got so I'll want some of the, whatever you guys don't use of that material, then I'll probably
Yeah,
want
you'll
that.
get back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that material is like the
doesn't
perfect
match my
shade.
colors.
What colors do you have?
I have a baseball team on mine, but mine I need to redo it.
Oh, the
Mine
rawhide.
is very worn out. So
Okay.
I need to redo this. It's just. It's
You have that the same on both?
No, this one's even worse. So map where your nerves go.
Okay.
So right now your mind is.
You're telling me like the foot kind of shrinks up
Right,
into the leg.
Yeah. So same concept is the mind is going to remap what the leg goes with. We're going to be bearing weight at the end of this leg. 2, you have a cut nerve that's still open because they cut the nerve and then it shrinks back in the muscle and they fold the tissue over. So you want to kind of help as much as you can before you get the prosthesis of that mind remapping. It's called cortical reorganization, and it's just basically the more you can resensitize it, and the mind's very plastic and can see, hey, it's not really a foot there anymore, and it just takes time for the mind to re-go through it.
So what are some ways that you recommend doing that?
Rub the leg, just massage it, and that'll
Okay,
also
I do that a
help.
lot.
Yes, and that's great because that helps limit the likelihood, even though it's small, of the scar tissue adhering to the bone, so your muscles adhere to the bone, which gets very painful because we have shear in that.
You were saying before, you said rub down this
Right,
way. Does
exactly.
it matter which way you rub, or just as long as you're
Ideally,
rubbing
it
it?
works best if you rub this way
Okay.
because you can do it yourself and it's just the easiest. But
Okay.
you just want to make sure that the skin moves like this instead of having it attached to the bone where it doesn't move.
Okay.
So you just massage it, and then that'll help that. And then when you pull on the stump shrinker, once you get the stitches out and the pain starts to go away, the more you can kind of, touch it and be more kind of rough and tough with it without breaking out the skin. That also helps because imagine when you walk, you're going to be bearing weight, losing weight, bearing weight,
Exactly.
losing weight. The more you can do now to just kind of prep it, the easier it is to walk.
Okay.
So not a whole lot more to do that other than massage it and
Massage it and just don't baby yourself.
And so this also helps them because it has there's some pressure being put on this spot.
Yeah, it'll help
Not
a little
much,
more so.
but-
It'll help with your balance and
Yeah.
your attitude. And attitude's more important than anything else. So if you have a positive attitude and you're happy and outliving your life, you're going to do better. If you're sitting on the couch drinking a beer saying woe is me, especially if you're diabetic, you're going to be in a lot more trouble.
Yeah, definitely not diabetic and definitely not a beer drinker.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting able to be able to do some of my tools and stuff again because there's some projects that I want to work on
Okay.
before we head out. So it's like I was looking forward to not having to use the walker anymore.
Yeah, so you just do as much as you can and then push yourself a little bit, but not too far so you don't get